Mr. Emmy Ingles. Thank you for taking time to grant this request to interview you as part of our class for critical approaches for Philippine art and culture, in which fashion design is one of our topics. And I would like if you could introduce yourself and what you do, and I will ask you the questions.
All right. I'm Emmy Alexander Angles. I'm the program chairperson for fashion design at the Helena Z. Benitez School of Fine Arts and Design at the Philippine Women's College of Davao. And I am a fashion design practitioner. And in the council, I sit as secretary for Fashion and Design Council of Davao.
Okay. Well, first question. What do you think is Filipino design, or is there one at all? And the second one would be in relation to that, as a fashion designer and educator, cultural educator, how are your works reflecting Filipino identity, Filipino culture, and the art?
Okay, let me start first with the first question because I think these are two heavy questions. Well, when you ask if there is such a thing as Filipino design, I believe there is. As a designer myself and as a Filipino myself, I think I embody Filipino design. Or I have Filipino design in me. But well, of course, if you try to even define it further, design, I think it is it's a complex combination of different influences. As we all know, we've been colonized by the Americans, by the Spaniards, by the Japanese, and all of these experiences have contributed in one way or the other to make that Filipino consciousness in terms of design that it is now.
Yes.
And so that's how I understand what really is a Filipino design.
Okay. Good. And how, as a fashion designer, have you projected that or reflected that through your works?
Okay. By the way, in addition also to how I have defined it earlier, so I can answer your next question. When I said Filipino design as a product of different influences, the Philippines is an archipelago. We are spread to more than 7,107 islands, depending, of course, if it's high tide or low tide. But the thing is, this geographical divide has also produced a diversity of Filipino design. They would like to term it as regional designs, because we're all spread to different regions. And the thing is that the very unique experiences that each of this region was able to go through decades, but centuries and centuries of influences, not only by the Americans, by the Japanese, by the Spaniards, but even before this. These three major influences came to the Philippines. All right, we already have trade-offs with different cultures from different countries all over the world, especially those near or within Asia. This has influenced, in one way or the other, the different cultures that we have from among, of course, the 7,107 islands we have in the Philippines. And to answer further your second question, how this influenced me, having been born and raised and educated and have lived considerably for the past 40 years in Mindanao, the diversity of cultures of the Lumads, the Islamized groups, and the Christian settlers from Luzon and the Visayas have greatly influenced the kind of design aesthetics that I have as a fashion designer. I am a Cebuano and an Ilonggo in terms of my lineage from my parents, but my interaction with our Lumad groups, with our Islamized groups through the years have also considerably, and I should say significantly, influenced the way I think about my design. That's why after 20 years as a designer, I came to realize that I am more of an artisanal heritage.
Okay.
My designs
Uh-huh.
are very much influenced and inspired by our talents.
Uh-huh.
I've been working with them for the past 16 years. And also, of late, the Maguindanao women in Balungis, in Tuyan, Malapatan, Sarangani province have also contributed a lot with the way I have transcended my design aesthetics. And of course, here in Davao, as we all know, Davao has 11 tribes, all
Uh-huh.
right? Six of which are the Islamized groups, and five of which are what we call the Lumad groups. And all of these groupings have also influenced the way I design, especially now. No? Although commercially I practice as a bridal designer, but as what I have mentioned before we start this conversation, more than being an educator, more than being a fashion designer, I am more importantly, a cultural worker. Because I believe that I have immersed and chosen to immerse myself in the cultures of our traditional communities, of our cultural communities during the past 20 years.
Yeah. Wow.
I really have that heart, really, you know, I was challenging myself how I can probably bring to mainstream culture the traditional cultures that we have among this diversity of cultures we have in Mindanao. And that is still a challenge at the moment because, you know, there are so many things that you have to consider,
Uh-huh.
especially in appropriating the motifs, the patterns, the colors. You know, you cannot just you cannot just put into your design their design. You know, that's what I realized. There is so much investment and relationships, and that's what I've said. I've been working with the Lovely for Women during the past 16 years.
Yes.
With the Maguindanao women during the past 6 years and even more. And through all this time, I think that I was really building relationships rather than really building that aesthetics, because I think that having been able to immerse myself in their day-to-day experience and how they have lived and survived their culture, I was able to I think I have shared in that kind of passion. I think I have shared a part and parcel also.
I witnessed that.
With them.
I witnessed that because having worked with you in Sarangani province before, you really brought something into the pageant, especially in 2005, something that was never done before. You made the Lovely for Women bow with their weaving, proudly wearing, things that they did. And that's the first time that I don't know if that has been replicated. And you made one master weaver, Fuya Bing, take the last bow, and that's a brilliant idea that fashion is also for cultures and traditional cultures, and the integration of it in the mainstream pop culture right now of the usual pageantry of in a fashion way. So you brought out the beauty of the traditional fashion into the modern fashion, which is in the course of a pageant. And that is just amazing.
Yes, of course. I think that's a very humbling experience for me because, Arjo, I always consider myself an outsider to this culture that, we have in Sarangani province. But I'm so thankful that they have welcomed me warmly into their culture. They have allowed me to experience their culture. And so now I even have this bigger responsibility on how I will be able to somehow help them bring that culture into mainstream culture by being, ethically considerate and culturally sensitive when it comes to appropriating a part and parcel of their culture into my design, for example, and the way I do also my art making outside their culture. So I think that is a very challenging role for me now as a designer.
Yeah. So speaking of as a designer, well, we know that the Philippines got the nod for the Miss Universe pageant to be held in the Philippines next year. And there's so many designers all over the country. And do you think that this opportunity of having the Miss Universe pageant is a great opportunity for the Filipino designers to shine by having their creations part of it in various showcases or highlights of the event. And what are your hopes for this Miss Universe pageant and its role in uplifting Filipino design and, of course, the creativity of Filipino designers?
Well, yes, there's really so much excitement brewing on right now, and well, alongside with that, well, I think there's also so much controversy because, well, you've heard already the news, no? During the past how many weeks that we here from Mindanao have also raised our protest because the representation of this regional show was basically given to a non-Mindanao designer at that, no?
Yeah.
But the thing is that I think it is very important also to understand that in all of this, how do you call this? In all of this controversies and also developments with regards to the Miss Universe pageant and ancillary show in Davao City, I think that more than anything else, this is the best opportunity for us to bring to mainstream culture, all right, or to mainstream society our local culture here through a global platform like Miss Universe. I think it's a very important avenue to not only let the world know that we have this diversity of cultures, but more than that, for the world to understand as well the diversity that we have here, and
Yes.
through fashion, how the designers will be able to translate or interpret or appropriate these local cultures will definitely be a very critical factor in realizing that kind of advocacy. And I think the Miss Universe organization has always that advocacy of women empowerment.
Yes.
And so I think that through this Davao Fashion Show, we will be able to help
Yes.
our local communities here. All right, make the world know them. That we have empowered women in the communities who can do as much and so much than than anybody else have ever imagined. Because the creativity is something that they will really have to look forward to, and the designers here are just but instruments in helping these women translate even further the creativity, the craftsmanship that they have in their culture. So that's why that's true that it's not the designers who will be highlighted in the Davao fashion event. But it's actually the women crafters, the beaders, the weavers. They will be the highlight of the Davao Fashion Show. And the designers here, excuse me, the designers here will just be instruments in facilitating the appropriation of these cultural motifs, these patterns into, of course, mainstream fashion. And I think the Miss Universe pageant will definitely be a great opportunity for us, and more importantly, for the women in the communities to bring to the world. It's long overdue. This is the best time for them to bring to the world, to bring it to the fore, that there is something unique, there is something diverse in this part of the world.
Great. Last 2 minutes.
Okay.
What are your hopes for the Filipino fashion industry?
Well, I hope that finally we'll be able to put things together this time. We have a new president who is very dynamic, who is very, how do you call this? They would say some kind of unexpected. And, he's really, how do you call this? A different way of leadership.
Yes.
Right? We hope that at this point in time, the creative industry, which of course has the fashion design industry as among the many sectors in that industry, will finally be recognized. Because I think that among the many ASEAN member countries, it's only the Philippines who's quietly in recognizing that the creative industry has something to do with the more dynamic and progressive development of the country.
Yeah.
So I hope that finally we will be recognized, because for the longest time it was always, of course, the private sector's
Yeah.
effort to put all things together. Like we started last year, the DAP
Okay.
Fashion Weekend, and we have the first Stellar Mindanao Young Designers Competition. Very little
Yeah. Yeah.
participation
So,
contribution from the government, but we're
Yeah.
not complaining. We're
Yeah.
not complaining. We're just telling them that we are here. We can do even more if we will work together with them.
thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and sharing your work and sharing your life. That concludes this interview. And thank you for being part of the UP Open University online course on Philippine arts and culture. Thank you, Emmy.
Thank you
Good night.
also for inviting me and for giving me this opportunity to share with you as well my thoughts. It's my thoughts. I'm pretty sure the thoughts of many other designers there would definitely be interesting as well. So
Oh.
I hope that in the future we'll have the opportunity also to get through with their thoughts as well, and put all of these things together. So we can probably see a more wider and broader direction in terms of our practice as fashion designers in this part of the world.
Thank you.